Hey y'all, this one is different. It's a little heavy. You may want to take a seat for this. It's not like my other ones. Let's get into it. So, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Truth. If you're new here, thanks for joining us. If you're returning, welcome back. Um, so, today I was at church, and I think I may have mentioned that I joined the choir, actually two, but we was getting ready to sing before church had started, and so we was up on the stage and we were like rehearsing for about an hour or so. And while I was up there on the stage, um, put a pin right there for 1 second. Okay, so I did mention this before. I'm a seer. And the thing about being a seer is like you can't stop. You can't turn it off. When he shows you something, he being God, the Almighty, the one above, no one else. When he reveals something to you in the spirit, you don't have the option of not seeing. You have the option of ignoring and brushing off and being disobedient and not following through with what he wants you to do with that information, but you do not have the luxury of not seeing, not feeling, not knowing when he gives you a download into your spirit. So, going back, I'm on stage and I'm just minding my business, rehearsing like we usually do. And all of a sudden, I'm not there anymore. Like I'm there physically, I'm there and I'm aware that I'm there in the physical. This may sound so crazy, y'all, but it's one of those situations where if you know, you know. So I'm in my body, I'm paying attention, I'm aware, but I'm also not there because I am being shown things in the spirit realm. And it's like I'm not in my body, I'm in the ethers. And he's like showing me stuff, okay? And so what he was showing me was very, very heavy. And it was a crazy situation because while he's revealing this heavy information to me through visions and different things like that, I'm actively in 3D physical realm singing a song in key, by the way. Anyway, so when it was over, when it was over being, we were done rehearsing and I was going to, my area where I put all my things and stuff like that. My mom and dad had came in, so I spoke to them and my mom's like, "What's wrong? You look really sad." Well, I wasn't sad. It was just the heaviness that I was not all the way out of yet. Like I was still half in the spirit and half walking to my seat to put my things in order. So it's literally like being between two worlds. And you don't have a choice about that. That's just what the experience of your life is. The other thing that makes this whole space of in between very interesting is that there's like 99% of the people around you don't have a clue about any of that. And so if you were to share prematurely with the wrong person who is unaware, they wouldn't even be able to perceive the message that God was revealing to you. And sometimes these visions and these words get downloaded into our spirit and we just need to sit with them for a minute so that we can make sense of them. At least that's what I do. Whenever I have a dream that's very vivid and clearly about something, which the last few days my dreams have been very much like that. I wake up and immediately I ask God, what was that about? And he will reveal to me what the dream was about, what things represent and stuff like that. And so then, okay, cool, I know what to do with this information. I can move on, about my day or whatever. This situation was a little bit different because it wasn't about me. as an individual person. It was about all of us here on the planet. It was like a global prophetic message that he was revealing to me. And that phrase is something that I've never really said out loud publicly because, when I was growing up, and not even just that, but the church I grew up in, they didn't talk about stuff like that. They didn't really subscribe to things like that. However, I was living that life, where God's showing me stuff. I don't have an option of not seeing. He tells me to do something, I have to do it. If I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm not going to be able to get some rest or, even ease my mind until I follow through with what he asked me to do. Things like that. That has been my lifestyle for so long, like the majority of my lifetime. We talking about 40 years or so, okay? So, anyways, this situation was definitely a prophetic message, and he wanted me to share it here on this platform. I don't know how many people be listening to my stuff. I don't know if people care about what I be talking about or whatever, but you know what? This ain't that. This is not for likes. This is not for popularity. This is in service to God, being obedient because he gave me a message that he wants me to share out. Okay? Happens to be a prophetic message, which is not something I normally talk about, but here we are. So, the reason why I said sit down is because it is so heavy. And basically, what he was revealing to me, I'm not allowed to share the exact vision. He won't let me do that, but he will let me tell you basically what it was about. Okay, so there has been a lot of heaviness in the spirit realm and in the atmosphere. And you're not able to perceive this unless you are really tuned in and aware of the Spirit of God that rests within you. When you're aware of his presence, his spirit, his Holy Spirit that is within you, you can feel when that spirit is grieving. You can feel when that spirit is heavy, or if there's something bigger going on, bigger than you, because that spirit is a navigation system. It's not just about you and your own personal walk with God, but it's also about you being used as a vessel to share and reveal truth to the world around you. Okay, so basically the point of the message was there are principalities that do not want to go. Like, they have to go because God is removing them. God is shifting things. He is moving stuff around. We are moving into a new era, a new season. A while back, I did an episode called The Year of Nine, and that is very much prevalent right now at this moment. So if you have not watched that episode, it may do you some good to go back and look at that. But basically, we are ending this year, okay, obviously. But a lot of times what happens when we end the year is some people are just so eager to get on with the next year. Like, oh, I'm so happy 2025 is over. It was horrible, blah, blah, blah. And what's crazy is that people say this about every year. Every year. I haven't heard a year where people are like, oh, it was so good to me. This year was so good to me. I hate to see it go. Usually it's the opposite. Oh, this year was horrible. I can't wait to see it just get out the way and move on and welcome 2026 and all hopeful and everything like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being optimistic. Nothing wrong with looking towards the future and all of that stuff. Okay. But the message that I got so loud was prioritize process. Prioritize process. Okay? So, and by process, I mean, or not me, what he means is process the pain, process loss, process disappointment, discouragement, any type of failure, anything that did not go well for you. And not just, you know, I had to get this shirt instead of that one because I couldn't afford the one that I wanted. No, I'm talking about heavy stuff. I'm talking about if you had a loss in your family, if the rug was ripped out from under you in any kind of way, if you recognize that you had people in your circle that did not belong in your circle and God removed them, for your benefit, if you lost a job or you realize like, oh, you gotta move out of your job because they don't really want you there or whatever the case, whatever it was that you experienced that was a hardship in 2025, process that pain and prioritize the process. Prioritize that process. It is so important because we are moving out of a very heavy cycle and we are beginning a new stage, a new, not just a new chapter, a whole new 9-year cycle begins at the beginning of the year. Okay, it's much bigger than just our little personal life. It's much bigger than even our household. It's bigger than even our one particular planet. It is a universal situation and shift that's going on right now. And there are entities and principalities and lower vibrational frequencies that just do not want to go. But it is time for them to go. Okay? And so as God is ushering them out, the image, one of the images that he gave me to kind of paint this in an analogy form is like when and this is so hypothetical because I don't even this is not how I would do things, but if there was a misbehaving child, right, and you like go to your room and the child is like clutching onto your leg and you trying to walk and they just holding onto your leg like, no, I don't want to go to my room, don't let me go to my room, I just want to be with you. Like that's basically what it's like. It's like these things these principalities, these energies, you know these entities and things like that, like they don't want to let go of you. They, whatever it was that they had a hold on you, in whichever way they was having a hold on you, they don't want to let that go. And instead of us being unaware and just wondering, why am I still struggling with this, or why is this hard for me, or why does this and this keep happening, or whatever, when we're unaware, that's the type of stuff that happens. It feels like we're on a hamster wheel and we just keep going back and back, over the same stuff, and we rehashing and we not making no progress or whatever, right? But when you are aware, it's like sometimes you just have to sit in that discomfort for a minute so that he can make it make sense for you. All right. So processing the pain that we have gone through does not mean wallowing in it. It doesn't mean, feeling all discouraged and heavy laden and like, we can't move on with life or whatever. It just means simply that, like, recognize it for what it was. Recognize how God brought you through or how he is currently bringing you through. Give thanks for all the things that he has revealed to you in that discomfort. Okay. Losing people that you thought you were gonna always be a part of for the rest of your life is a very difficult experience. And so, if you have people in your circle that were revealed to you as not really being for you, and then God had to remove them one way or another, either they showed you who they were, so you had to move around, or they did something to try to, like, outcast you, but rejection is actually protection. So God was looking out even in that situation. Remember that whatever the enemy means for our bad or means to harm us or whatever, God uses for our good. So even those times where we feel like, we're struggling and things are just not working out right, or, this door closed and that one and this and that, just recognize that that is actually God shifting things in your life so that he can keep you on path where he wants you to go. But that is only the case if you are, first of all, submitted and surrendered to him completely. Okay. So, meaning you open yourself up to be used by him. You tell him that you want him to move things around. You want him to move people in that need to be in, and you want him to remove people that don't need to be around you, and things like that. When you give him that authority in your life and you step back and surrender and submit to him, meaning you let go and let God, right? You let go and you let him do whatever he's gonna do, and you don't fight it, you don't resist it, you don't keep going back to the people that have been rejecting you to try to seek their validation or approval. You just let them go because clearly God wanted them to go. So let that happen. Okay, let certain things die, like my elders say. Let lying dogs lie, or something like that. Let sleeping dogs lie, whatever it was. But anyways, you let those things be what they are, and you don't try to force them to work out. You don't force a fit when it doesn't fit, when it's clear that it doesn't fit. Okay, so these last few days as we exit 2025, the word is to be intentional. Be very intentional about how you release this old season, this past 9-year cycle, all of the hardships. Recognize them for what they were. Don't brush them under the rug. Don't try to just act like, it wasn't that deep and now we can just move on and we can focus on everything that lies ahead and stuff like that. It's good to be optimistic, don't get me wrong, right? But what happens when we don't process is that we end up carrying all of that stuff with us in our subconscious. In our subconscious, if you remember, if you've been paying attention to these episodes I've been dropping for a couple years now, way at the beginning I was talking about how our subconscious mind controls 90 to 95% of all the things that we do in life. Basically, we're on autopilot all the time. So if you have things that are, like limiting beliefs or negative, doubtful thoughts about yourself, or unprocessed pain that you are carrying, it is going to dominate your subconscious. That will then affect your sleep, because when you go to sleep, those things that you have not processed are going to take over. Your subconscious mind takes over while you are sleeping, and so those things that have not been resolved, or they haven't been sorted out quite yet, or whatever, your brain is trying to make sense of all of that. And so it will show up in the form of disrupted sleep patterns, or crazy dreams that are, could be a little bit scary, could be a little bit uncomfortable. But again, if you're not taking the time to process even the dream that you had, you're not getting anywhere. You're just shoving it under the rug, and you keep moving on with life, and you're not able to progress moving forward. So as you looking optimistic to the future, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a new year, blah blah blah, you're gonna find that a couple months in, you back where you was before. You back where you were in October, September, or whatever of 2025, even though it's July of 2026. You're still in the same spot because you haven't processed the pain so that you could then release it. Okay, and when we say release, process the pain and then release, there is an important step that needs to happen where you recognize what it is you're releasing and why. Okay, appreciate the lesson as it was given to you and acknowledge that. Okay, so you process the pain. Yeah, that hurt, and this, this and that happened, and whatever. Okay, but what does all of that mean? There's a lesson in everything. God is very intentional, and just as intentional as he is, that's how he wants us to be right now in this specific season during this specific week. Okay, it is a time for us to process the things that we have gone through, the things that he has brought us out of, and then recognize the lessons that we learned from those experiences. then we can release all that no longer serves us. It's still serving us if we haven't processed it yet. It's still serving us if we have not recognized the lesson in it. It's still there for a reason. It's lingering for a reason. So we have to process it, recognize, then release. And when we release it, then we can move forward. Then we can really start anew in a fresh chapter, a fresh season, a fresh cycle. Then we can actually dig our heels in and move forward and hit the ground running with full intent and purpose for his divine will to be fulfilled within our own lives as well as collectively as a kingdom of God. I hope this word bless somebody. I hope somebody gets something from it. I feel better because I did what I was supposed to do and got it out to y'all, even though it was a little bit awkward because I really don't talk about stuff like that too often, but or at least not on a public platform. But I feel like that's what he's kind of pushing me towards a little bit more. And I'm so thankful for the people that I have in my life now who understand me and can relate to me, and especially my new church home that embraces all that I am and all that he created me to be, and they are set up very similar so we can pour into each other. They can help me understand what's going on in more biblical terms, and I can be used as a vessel there as well. So I'm just grateful for all the things that God is doing in my life, the people that he's putting in position in my life as well to pour into that and to feed into that. I hope this word has blessed you, or and you will be willing to share it with others if you feel so inclined. Thank you for listening.